The best 3 movies of 1921.
Number 3. Destiny. Directed by Fritz Lang. Genre: fantasy, horror, thriller.
In Some Time and Some Place, a loving young couple is riding in a carriage on a country road, when they pick up a hitchhiker, offering him a ride into town. Little do they know, this stranger is Death himself. In town, Death visits the mayor's office, where he purchases a small piece of land adjacent to the town cemetery. Surrounding this property, Death erects a giant, mysterious wall. At the local tavern, the young couple encounters Death again, and when the young woman is distracted, her lover disappears. Grief-stricken, she sobs in front of the mysterious wall, when she sees a large group of ghosts walk past her, and through the wall. The last among these ghosts is her lover, and despite her protests, he also moves through the wall, entering the realm of Death. Relentless, the young woman confronts Death, begging him to bring her to her lover. He leads her to a large, dark room, with numerous long candles, each one in different stages of burning. The young woman demands to know why Death took her lover away, to which Death explains that he was simply following God's will, and that it was her lover's time to die. She asks if there is anything that can be done to get her love back, arguing that love is stronger than death. Death tells her that each candle in the room represents a human life, and that currently, 3 candles are flickering, representing 3 lives hanging in the balance. Death promises the young woman that, if she can save one of these lives with love, he will return her lover to the living.
Number 2. The Phantom Carriage. Directed by Victor Sjöström. Genre: fantasy, horror.
On New Year's Eve, dying Salvation Army Sister Edith has one last wish, to speak with David Holm. David, a drunkard, is sitting in a graveyard, telling his 2 drinking buddies about his old friend Georges, who told him about the legend that the last person to die each year has to drive Death's carriage and collect the souls of everybody who dies the following year. Georges himself died on New Year's Eve the previous year. Gustafsson, a colleague of Edith, finds David, but is unable to persuade him to go see her. When his friends try to drag him there, a fight breaks out, and David is struck on the head with a bottle just before the clock strikes 12. David's soul emerges from his body as the carriage appears. The driver is Georges. Georges reminds David of how the latter once lived a happy life with his wife Anna, their 2 children and his brother, until Georges led him astray. As shown in a flashback that follows, David was jailed for drunkenness. Before being released from prison, he was shown his brother, who had been sentenced to a long term for killing a man while drunk. When David went home, he found the apartment empty. Furious, he became determined to track Anna down and have his revenge. During his search throughout Sweden, David arrives at a new Salvation Army mission on New Year's Eve. Maria does not want to answer the bell, as it is very late, but Edith lets him in. Despite his rudeness to her, she mends his coat while he sleeps. The next day, she asks him to return in 1 year. She had prayed that the first visitor would have good fortune for that period and wants to know the outcome of her prayer. He agrees, but before he leaves, he tears out her patches. Georges informs David that the promise has to be fulfilled and takes him against his will in the carriage to Edith. In another flashback it is shown how Edith once found David in a bar with Gustafsson and another man. Edith persuaded the other man to go home with his wife and gave Gustafsson an advertisement for a Salvation Army meeting. At the meeting, Gustafsson submitted himself to God, but David remained completely unrepentant. Anna was at the meeting, but David did not recognize her. Later, Anna told Edith who she was, and Edith tried to effect a reconciliation. At first, the couple were optimistic, but soon David's behavior drove Anna to despair once again. One night, Anna pleaded with him not to expose their children to his consumption, the same fatal disease Edith caught from him. When he refused, Anna locked him in the kitchen and tried to flee again with their children, but fainted. He broke through the door with an axe, but did not physically hurt her. When Georges goes into Edith's room, she begs him to let her live until she sees David again. she thinks she is the one to blame for his magnified sins, as she brought the couple together again. When David hears this, he is deeply moved. He kisses her hands, and when Edith sees his regret, she can die in peace. Georges does not take her, saying others will come for her. He then shows David that Anna, afraid of leaving her children alone after she herself dies of consumption, is planning to poison them and herself. David begs Georges to do something, but Georges has no power over the living. Then David regains consciousness in the graveyard. He rushes to Anna before she can act. With great difficulty, he convinces her that he sincerely wishes to reform. Number 1, The Kid. Directed by Charlie Chaplin. Genre, comedy, drama. With much anguish, an unwed mother abandons her child, placing him in an expensive automobile with a handwritten note: "Please love and care for this orphan child." 2 thieves steal the car and leave the baby in an alley, where he is found by the tramp. After some attempts to hand off the child onto various passers-by, he finds the note and his heart melts. He takes the boy home, names him John, and adjusts his household furniture for him. Meanwhile, the mother has a change of heart and returns for her baby. When she learns that the car has been stolen, she faints. 5 years pass. The kid and the tramp live in the same tiny room. They have little money but much love. They support themselves in a minor scheme. The kid throws stones to break windows so that the tramp, working as a glazier, can be paid to repair them. Meanwhile, the mother has become a wealthy actress and does charity by giving presents to poor children. By chance, as she does so, the mother and the kid unknowingly cross paths. The kid later gets into a fight with another local boy as people in the area gather to watch the spectacle. The kid wins, drawing the ire of the other boy's older brother, who attacks the tramp as a result. The mother breaks up the fight, but it starts again after she leaves, and the tramp keeps beating the big brother over the head with a brick between swings until he totters away. Shortly afterward, the mother advises the tramp to call a doctor after the kid falls ill. The doctor discovers that the tramp is not the kid's father and notifies authorities. 2 men come to take the boy to an orphanage, but after a fight and a chase, the tramp and the boy remain side by side. When the mother comes back to see how the boy is doing, she encounters the doctor, who shows her the note, which he had taken from the tramp. She recognizes it as the one she left with her baby years ago. Now fugitives, the tramp and the boy spend the night in a flop house. Its proprietor learns of a $1,000 reward offered by the authorities and takes the kid to the police station, while the tramp is asleep. As the tearful mother is reunited with her long-lost child, the tramp searches frantically for the missing boy. Unsuccessful, he returns to the doorway of their humble lodgings, where he falls asleep, entering a dreamland where his neighbors have turned into angels and devils. A policeman awakes him and drives him off to a mansion. There the door is opened by the mother and the kid, who jumps into the tramp's arms, and he is welcomed in. What movie would you like the next episode to be? Tell us in the comments.
If you like this video, please like it and subscribe our channel.